I attended my daughter's funeral without being able to sort out my thoughts.
My 27-year-old daughter suddenly passed away. As I stared blankly at her house, my 4-year-old grandson pulled on my skirt and murmured a shocking phrase. And my daughter's mother-in-law, who was nearby listening to those words, turned around and said, "I don't know what you're talking about." Her tragic end was just beginning. I'm Tina, a 50-year-old housewife and part-time waitress at a local diner. I have a daughter named Lauren. She got married to her husband. Keith was 21. At first, she lived with her in-laws but couldn't get along with her mother-in-law, so they live separately now.
No grandchildren yet, Lauren. How has it been since you got married? You're really useless. You're not fulfilling your role as a daughter-in-law.
It seems that she was repeatedly blamed by her mother-in-law for not having any children until finally a son, Alex, was born.
Can you not have children because you're working? Don't neglect your household chores because they are important too.
At that time, my daughter and her husband were both working. But she was also doing household chores at her in-laws' home. Moreover, it seems that she was ever about the details of housework.
I want to be recognized as a good daughter-in-law, you know.
Although she was initially enthusiastic about living with them. She soon became tired of their constant bickering.
No matter what I do, my mother-in-law complains. She should just do it herself.
Her in-laws' house was a 5-hour drive from where we lived. I felt frustrated that I couldn't reach my daughter when she was in need.
Lauren, honey, if it's too tough, CC here once in a while. You need to take a break from your daughter-in-law too, you know.
Thank you, Mom, but I'm okay. Sorry to worry you. Can I talk to you, my complaints again sometime?
I couldn't say anything more to my who said that. After that, I was often told about mother-in-law's complaints by Laura. But as the physical distance between us shortened, I also thought about how to support her mentally. And I also gradually began to feel uncomfortable with my mother-in-law. Her mother-in-law hated it extremely. Lauren came home to our place. She called me directly.
Lauren is our daughter-in-law, and yet she told me that she wants to go back to your place for a while for Thanksgiving. Please be sure to warn her too, would you?
But Lauren is also our daughter. So can't we just let it go after 5 years?
Lauren is doing well here, you know. Do you really need to meet her so on?
Even if I tried, the answer from her mother-in-law was always one-sided. I thought it wouldn't be good to argue much considering Lauren's position, so I went along with her mother's opinion. However, Lauren's husband convinced his mother.
Even if you say she's doing well, it's obvious that they want to meet once in a while. Didn't you always tell me that you were lonely and wanted us to come back and live with you, remember?
We somehow managed to get permission for a few visits home per year.
Wow, she even called you? I'm sorry. I really want to build a good relationship with her, but
The day after her mother-in-law's CC, Lauren contacted me with a voice full of apologies.
No, don't be sorry, honey. I couldn't do anything for you either.
I had such frustrating conversation, daughter, many times. One day, Lauren contacted me saying that my mother-in-law was angry because I didn't give her a return gift for a present she had given me.
I haven't received anything from my husband's family even once. And yet, she demands such things from me. Is that
I was surprised and raised my voice.
really? I don't understand anything that my mother-in-law is saying or doing anymore.
Lauren's voice on the phone showed exhaustion.
well, Lev and hurry and send something, should definitely discuss it proper, your husband.
I told Lauren that and hung up. About 2 years had passed since Lauren started living with her in-laws when she contacted me again.
The relationship with her just can improve. I think it's better for me not to be her. Keith feels the same way too. So we decided to live separately from our in-laws.
Apparently, Lauren's husband also, Jay, he couldn't handle his mother and move out.
Even if we say we're living in 6, it's still within walking distance.
I felt relieved when I heard Lauren's laughing voice over the phone. Then, about a year after Lauren and family had left their in-laws' home, I heard that she was pregnant with her first child. I was happy to hear the news, but Six thought that the stress of living with in-laws may have been a factor in getting pregnant until now. Lauren gave birth to a healthy baby Alex. However, her mental state began to deteriorate rapidly due to her mother-in-law's overbearing nature. At the suggestion of her husband, who was 2 years older than she, they came to live for several years in a small town in the Midwest. Lauren was so mentally exhausted that she became quite thin. I deeply regret that I hadn't been able to do anything for her until then. After a while, Alex, who had started a little, began to say strange things.
Granny, is the man with the injured eye here today?
What do you mean, Alex?
That man with the line in his eye.
Alex pointed at his own right eye and said, "I'm blind in this one." The truth is, my father, who passed, lost his vision in his right eye and scar from an accident at work when young. My father passed away when I was the pictures were kept at my parents', so even Lauren didn't know about them. At first, I thought it was a coincidence. His bizarre stories continued many.
The man with the injured eye looks sad.
I told my mother about this. Later, we received a report that my father's grave had been broken or something. From then on, I felt that maybe Ale's sixth sense. Lauren seemed to have the same problem, but she didn't pay much attention to it.
I wonder who Alex inherited it from.
2 years passed, and Lauren S.E.'s physical condition improved enough that she was able to return to her in-laws' house. However, she still received a bunch of sarcasm from her mother-in-law.
What a terrible woman you are. You're trying to take over Taker's grandson, who is the heir. From now on, I will raise Alex in Old Town.
Thankfully, Lauren's husband and father-in-law were restricted in their contact with them. So it seemed that she could spend more time with her son. However, tragedy struck suddenly. One day, out of nowhere, Lauren Shu contacted me and told me that Lauren had fallen down the stairs and died. This news was hardly believable. How, when I rushed to the hospital, she already become cold, and I had a reality. Soon after, the funeral was held, of course. Lauren's husband, Alex, and mother-in-law attended. I managed to maintain my composure, exchanged greetings with her mother.
But falling down the stairs? Was she not paying attention?
With her words, I couldn't even think of myself as human being, and I didn't have the energy to argue back.
Mom.
Lauren's husband also heard his mother's worse and accused her furiously, but she seemed completely indifferent. Then she said to him, who was hold,
Why don't you watch him carefully? Don't let him say anything creepy, one always does.
Mom, cut it out.
Lauren's husband was clearly upset. Mother.
Excuse me, I'm gonna step out for a minute. Can you take care of Alex for a while?
Lauren's husband entrusted me with forcibly took his mother outside them. Alex seemed unable to comprehend that his mother had passed away. And I was doing my best to hold back tears.
Granny, why do you look so sad? Mon worried about you.
Alex looked at my face with a worried expression. I felt tears that I had been holding back quietly overflow.
Alex, sweetheart, is Mommy here?
Yeah, she was behind you until I let her go. She's with Grandma now. Over there, Daddy.
Saying that, Alex pointed to where Lauren's husband and mother-in-law.
Mommy said Grandma pushed her on them.
As soon as heard Alex's words, all attendees turned their attention to
Alex, don't say things like that.
Lauren's mother-in-law looked pale, and her words were slurred. I could tell she had a fever.
Sure. Can you please provide more context about what you're looking for?
I spoke with Alex to calm the situation. After the funeral was over, I returned to Lauren's home with Alex, and we talked slowly. Meanwhile, the mother-in-law was talking to her daughter-in-law at her house.
Well, Alex, can you tell me the story?
Mommy's story? Sure. Let's go to Mike. Mommy's saying something good is coming.
Alex led me to his room, holding my cheerful expression,
That thing over there. Can you take me?
and looking around the room, Alex saw a box. Upon checking the contents, there were 6 small camera and recorder inside. According to Lauren's husband, Alex be talking to someone, even though alone, and he would stare intently nothing. Lauren found it interesting that the sound detecting camera and recorder could be used to capture sounds in a variety of environments.
Alex, do you know what this is for?
No. I don't think so.
With Lauren's husband, we nervously the contents. On the camera, we saw Lauren's mother breaking into Alex's room, disregarding Lauren's protests. The 2 women were clearly arguing, although the stares were out of sight, recorded their voices and thuds. The content was so shocking, it made me speechless. I woke up in the hospital, and Lauren's husband explained what happened afterward. Right after I fainted, he immediately contacted the police and submitted video recordings. The police had been investigating the accident, and along with the records of Alex's room, Lauren's mother-in-law investigated and arrested a few days later. I took care of Alex for a while, and he seemed to be having a great time at our place. Lauren's husband later told me that her mother had suffered a mental breakdown and was currently in a state of confusion.
If only that child had not said anything. And that bitch.
She eventually became unresponsive police questioning. When she found out that Lauren was dead, she stormed into her house and a fight. They struggled, and she ended up pushing Lauren down the stairs. Lauren was still alive when her moth left the house. However, Lauren couldn't get up on and passed away shortly after.
I'm sorry for being so useless. That day, I went out with Alex to get some fresh air, but I never expected my mom to show up. I can't.
Lauren's husband apologized to me while crying, and I could only listen in without being able to sort out my own feelings. Then, Alex, who had been watching me closely, came over and petted my head.
Granny, Mommy told me to do this. She can't touch you, but I can.
He looked at me with a smile. I hugged Alex and cried for a long time before finally gathering my thoughts. Lauren's mother-in-law was taken to the police station, and her hallucinations had subsided. So there were no legal issues related to mental state. She was found guilty and became a prisoner on the other side of the wall. Lauren's husband had to explain it to his company, and as a result, he had to transfer to a neighboring state to live. While he worked, I took care of Alex.
I know you don't want to see me, but Alex's sake, would you allow me to nearby?
He said this, and I agreed.
Keith, when you find someone new, I care of Alex for you. So don't worry.
Thank you, but Lauren is my only wife. I'll work my hardest for her sake to make Alex into a fine human being.
As for me, I had enough savings from my husband's inheritance to live comfortably. I spend my days enjoying time with grandson. As for Alex, he doesn't say straight anymore like he used to.
Whenever I ask him about it, he just...
I don't know. That's all he says. Alex seems to be enjoying himself, new friends every day. I still think about my daughter Laura, crying until my tears run out at night. But for Alex's future, I want to love him just as much as I would have Lauren.